Evelyn Boswell gave an absolutely haunting and chilling interview soon after her case broke. We're going to check out that interview today and talk about it. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there. I'm right here. If you're new to the channel, my name's Paul. If you're not new to the channel, my name's still Paul. Now, Bo and Luke, my dogs, they are sleeping. So I'm recording videos super early in the morning now, just because they're little puppies. And as the day gets going, it's literally impossible to record in here. We've got 4 dogs running around, and it gets crazy, right? Just do with that what you will, right? They'll make appearances in the live chats and stuff like that, because that's a little bit more candid. But to get through this, that's where they're at. But what we're going to be doing today specifically is not talking about Bo and Luke. I wish I could all day long. We are going to be revisiting or visiting, however you want to say it, the Evelyn Boswell case. Now, I will do a quick little 60-second overview about the case. I've done timelines. I covered it years ago when it happened. It's getting ready to go to trial, or it's already in trial, depending on when you're watching this, or obviously it could be over with at this point. But specifically, what we're doing today is we are watching one of those first interviews that Megan gave to a TV outlet, talking about Evelyn and, you know, whatever, right? We're gonna watch it. It's chilling to see and watch, knowing what we know now. Now, again, at the time of this recording, this is allegedly. She has not been found guilty. So do with that what you will. If this is after the fact and she has been found guilty, well, then do with that what you will, okay? But these are literally just my opinions. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a cop, I'm not a therapist, not any of that fancy credentialed stuff. I'm just a guy with a sofa and some sass. So these are just my opinions. That's all they are on very public information. Now, to get into who is Megan and whatnot, Evelyn Boswell is the mother of Evelyn Boswell. Now, back in 2020, Evelyn Boswell was reported missing by her grandfather. Now, it had been months since anybody had seen her. This would unleash, and obviously a search and investigation. This would pull in members of Megan's family. She would throw her mother under the bus. She would blame this person, blame that person. And ultimately, in the end, obviously, Megan's story was not adding up. And eventually, little baby Evelyn would be found. Megan has been in jail awaiting trial for several years at this point now, right? That is the overview of it. It's much later, but again, this video is not meant to do that. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and pull that video up, and I'm just gonna watch it. It's been a while since I've actually watched it in its entirety, and we're just gonna go through and stop along the way and make commentary.
I just want to tell you about like her favorite things and personality wise. I know, like looking on TV and just kind of seeing a picture, it's a lot harder to, you know, envision a baby. Like, her favorite food is, like, sweet potatoes. She's really sweet. She loves to give people kisses. Favorite song is Baby Shark. Just like that kind of stuff.
Can you tell me, what's her favorite toy?
She has a little Baby Shark puppet.
Okay, one thing I want you to pay attention to as we watch this is just this right here. Now, again, if we look at it through the lens of when this happened, we don't know, her baby could be missing, we don't have the information that we did this, whatever. If you isolate that down to, and especially I usually would look at this like, well, what would I be doing if I was being interviewed? I would be nervous, I would be awkward. That's just me. I have severe social anxiety. I know you might not think someone like me does, talking and whatnot up here, but I do. So I put myself in that because what to me she's giving is that kind of awkwardness. But I'm like, well, you know, whatever. Now look at it through the other lens, knowing what we know now. Her baby was found underneath her dad's trailer, right? So it's like, she knew. Again, will it prove that she knew where the baby was the whole time? And if so, then this behavior is scary. We've seen this before. We've seen Chris Watts swaying on the porch multiple times. Just think of how many interviews you see where the person gets up there. Susan Smith, I just want my babies back. You know, Diane Downs. It's very familiar feeling is what I'm getting at.
What would y'all do together?
Well, she loves to take baths. That was her favorite thing. She had little shark toys that swim in the bath and stuff like that.
How old is she now?
She's 15 months today, actually.
Can you tell me a little bit, like, so you said she's very sweet. Is she sweet with everybody, or just...
She is. She loves everybody.
Can you tell me a little bit about, like, how you're feeling? Do you miss her? Are you worried?
Of course I miss her, and, like, I can't tell you anything about the ongoing investigation, but I'm sure you all have released an article about the car and stuff like that, so they have a pretty good idea of who has her. I mean, if they're watching, I just want them to bring her back.
Okay, so again, this is during the whole Baby Shark era, if you remember that song. Watching her up there, and again on cue, like, okay, let's start crying. Her smiling seems so weird to me. There's another interview that she did, we'll do a separate video for that one, where the smile was way worse. Now here you're starting to get the beginning of the story that she's concocting with the missing car and the this and that. Now if you remember, the missing car is her mother, meaning Megan's mother, and then Megan's mother's boyfriend. Okay, there was this thing about Megan was supposed to buy a car, somebody was, but then the mom and the boyfriend had it. That person didn't know that she had it, so they ran off and did this. I mean, it's trifling, okay? It's literally just the whole thing. But you're watching the origins of Megan putting the blame onto the mother. Right? The car. We know who has the baby. We're looking for the car. We're looking for this. We'll get further into it, especially if you haven't seen this, because my question is, and again, just trying to think ahead or whatever, I'm like, what did she think was going to happen? Did she think that her mother was going to get caught and just take the fall?
Is there anything you'd like to say to them if they're watching?
I just want her back. That's my child.
I'm sorry. I know this must be hard. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about her? Do you have any pictures of her? Have you been looking?
Not on me, no.
Not on you. Have you been looking at photos and stuff of her while you're? How are you coping with all of it?
I just want her back.
If you could tell her anything now, what would you say to her?
I love her and I miss her, and that I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her any way I can.
Okay. That one part where there's a couple of things in this where she's like, do you have pictures of her? No, not on me. Megan was at a court case that was like something completely unrelated. So maybe she didn't have anything on her specifically or whatever. Maybe it was in the car or whatnot. But you heard the reporter say, oh, are you looking at pictures? Because it almost seems like if your child was missing, you would have a picture of said child plastered to you to show anyone and everyone, stop and talk, oh my God, Megan, I heard what happened. Yep, here's her latest picture. Have you anything? But again, Megan's acting like the Casey Anthony. I know who's got her. Y'all don't worry about all that over there. I've got to go to the grocery store, run a couple of errands, and then I'm going to worry about finding Miss Evelyn. And you're just kind of like, okay. When they come up on it by day, I mean like the Casey Anthony's and the story of like, I know what happened, but I'm trying to handle it vibe, right? Then the other part where the reporter's like, how are you handling it? And Megan goes, and in my mind, as she was shaking her head no, I'm thinking to myself, not good. But then, and I was like, why are we shaking our head yes now? It was like it was involuntary, okay? Now, I ain't no body language expert, but that part just didn't set right. And then she just tried to almost like reel it back in with like, I just wanted to come home. And then as soon as I can get to you, you have a manhunt going on for your baby. The police officer, and again, like right now in the timeline, I don't have those notes in front of me. I can't remember the press conference that happened where the cop's like, I'm personally putting up $1,000 or whatever it was, right? So that thing of like, as soon as I can get to you, and who knows what she meant by that, but again, it just sounds like, but I gotta go to the grocery store first. That part just, it feels weird to hear.
Is there anything that you can tell us about, like, what kind of baby she is? I know you said that it's hard to see.
She's a happy baby. She hardly ever cries. She wants to wave and talk to everybody. She walks funny. She doesn't know how to pick her feet up, so she kind of wobbles.
Is she talkative?
She is.
What,
she giggles a lot. You'll smile at her, she'll just start giggling. She's very happy.
And so you said she is talkative. Is full sentences? Like, what milestones has she met? Like, is she a smart little girl?
She is. She hit every milestone early. She can almost say I love you. She's not fully got to sentences yet, but she does say a lot of words.
Now, when we sit here and we listen to these things like this, and this is just what goes through my mind, and again, I'm not these people, I don't know them, I'm not Megan, I haven't walked in their shoes or anything like that. When they're describing this, she's giggly, she's almost can say I love you, she toddles, she drags her little feet, and I'm like, she sounds like an adorable little baby. So what possibly could have taken place to have landed this child in the situation that she was found? Again, now would I expect Megan to sit here in this situation and say, oh my God, she's so much, cries all night long, can't get anything done with her? Of course not, right? I mean, let's be real. So, I mean, I get that I'm being a little bit, naive in that or whatever. But nonetheless, I just go back to, well, then what happened? Why did this take place? And again, this is on my bias and assumption that Megan is guilty, of course, at the time of this recording. she's not been sentenced or found guilty yet.
You must be so proud of her.
I am. When Baby Shark plays, she tries to like dance with them and sing it.
You said that's her favorite song. Do you do the puppet with her a lot? And I know all of this is very hard. Can you tell me, like, how you're feeling?
I just want her back. That's all I want.
Are you feeling worried or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that at all?
Well, the reason I didn't report it or anything is because I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her. And as soon as they thought anything was going on, they just kind of vanished. So I'm just worried about, like where they're at, what they're doing with her at this point in time.
So you do know who has her?
Okay, real quick before I forget this, all that very last thing that she did when she goes, so you do know who has her, goes, like, I did not believe that head nod at all. Now, this part too is where we first hear that, oh, so you know who has her. Again, Casey Anthony 2.0, right? She was like, oh, but the person who had her, I didn't want them to run off or do this, but they ran off. And what's odd hearing this is when the reporter is asking her, how do you feel? And all she said multiple times up until pressed is, I just want her back. And then the reporter throws her a lifeline. Are you worried? Yeah. Well, can we talk about that? And then it's almost like Megan tries to give an excuse to validate her lack of worry, if that makes sense. Like, and almost in her mind, I feel like her insecurity is, I'm not coming across and selling the role enough, so I'm going to say why. And at the same time, create an alibi or throwing the situation off. Or she might have been looking at like, mom's such a hot mess and her boyfriend is too. I'm just gonna say they took the baby, and I don't know what happened. And they'll be so blased out that they won't know right from wrong, left from right. You see what I'm saying? Now again, this is sofa speculation, okay? This is not fact. This is just me like trying to figure this out. But watching her do all that, I'm just like, oh yeah, we've seen this song and dance time and time again. Now, is it fair to also say, oh, I know exactly how I act in this situation? And no, right? None of us ever hope to be in this situation, number one. Number two, who knows how we would act, right? I mean, I personally think, even if it was legit, like 100%, I mean, I don't have kids, but like my kid is missing. It is legitimate. We're not talking about I did anything. Like someone legitimately took the kid. I don't even know who has them. My role in my, oh, Paul, you would be so like shaken. You would come off as guilty, even if you weren't, right? Like I would be acting so weird. So to me, it's hard to say that. However, there is a similarity that we see in these cases where it doesn't quite seem like, they're that innocent in it, okay? Again, I just go back to Chris Watson, I just want him to come home. I really miss the kids. The whole thing was like, this doesn't seem right. It's like they can't authentically describe the worry because they're not feeling it.
Can you tell us who that is or you don't?
I can't release anything further about that. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but further than that, I can't say anything.
And so you do know who has her. Are you worried about her safety?
Well, now I am, because they won't answer phone calls. They've just kind of disappeared.
What is it like to? I'm assuming that you trusted this person. How has this trust been broken? What's been going on with that?
It has definitely been broken after this.
Have you spoken to her father at all during this process? Are you having any support from
No.
him or from your family?
Yeah, my grandma's very supportive. She always is.
That's good.
Now, again, this part about, I can't say anything, I can't do this, and that's legitimate, right? I mean, in legitimate cases, we see that where they're like, hold this information. However, once the cops start speaking and it's like, yeah, her story's not adding up, then right? Now, again, her being a little bit evasive here of, well, now they're not answering, and so now I'm worried and this, that, and the other. And you can just tell, like, if this is legitimate, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of issues going on here. Her body language, all of it is not adding up. And again, remember, this is like one of the first, I think this is the first interview she gave, or the second one. I mean, it's like right at this, it's like really the first we heard from her, right? That's the first thing out of the gate. I just feel like at baseline, my expectation would be someone a little bit more agitated, and not in an angry way, but just in a nervous way, and someone more desperate, if that makes sense.
But you haven't spoken to him at all?
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you saw her?
In December.
In December. And what was that last day like? Was it a good day? I think it was around Christmas, right? you tell me about that?
It was a good day. She had a little pink bow in her hair and a little Puma tracksuit on. It was hot pink.
And what, like, I know that you're hoping that she'll be returned shortly. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the person or people that have her that you think they should hear from you?
They should just bring her back. They always know, like, what's going on, and, like, they need to bring her back home.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you trusted this person. So when did you realize that trust might have been broken?
Well, when they just kind of took off and wouldn't answer anybody.
Around when was that?
Whenever this whole thing started.
Okay. All right.
Okay, her answers, like, you can tell the reporter is trying to get the tea, as the kids might say. Megan comes back with more, when did it start? When did that happen? When the whole thing started? And when was that? When that went down? I mean, it's just like this circle. Who's on first? Kind of a thing. And you're just like, again, I feel like what I'm watching is someone who's making up off the cuff answers because, I mean, technically at this point we know she was, right? Like, this did not happen, okay? Like, what she's describing didn't take place. And so they need to bring her back. And again, I don't know. I mean, somebody help me out here. Maybe we don't see them on television when they get to this point because there are situations that go down. Because what I was going to say is, have we seen a scenario like this where the person's claiming that Zanny the nanny or the mysterious person here has taken the kid, but we're going to get to it, and it actually works out that way, and it's not something nefarious like this, but maybe they do sometimes. Now, I can imagine like a kidnapping that might be like a custodial type situation, which is almost what she seems to be trying to play this off as. Granted, in this, we don't know who she's talking about, but now we know that it was the mom and whatnot, so it's almost like somebody who's like, well, I did the kid, drop off and pick up, and, gave my wife or husband the said child, and then they ran off and disappeared. And so now, I'm feeling this way or whatever. That's almost how I'm looking at like she was trying to present this. And again, I'm just like the smile, the evasiveness, trying to cover it up with, well, it's an open investigation type answers. Because I almost wonder if this was legit and like think in these terms. Like imagine if she just said this. My mom has her, if any of my friends are watching or anybody that knows the places that they run around, my mom has baby Evelyn. You need to call the cops on my mom if you see her. You see what I'm saying? Like what would be the harm in that? If you legitimately were like, she took my baby and ran off, why would the cops not want to come right out and say that's what's going on? Or that you want to be like on the phone like, girl, go down to the bar where mom's at or whatever, what's going on. It doesn't make sense.
Can you tell me a little bit more about like how you're feeling? I know all of this is scary and everything.
It is. I just want her back.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can think about. Is just getting her back.
Is there anything the community can do to help you?
No. Other than look for her. I know they released the car information and the tag number and stuff like that. Just any leads at all, they need to like call so we can go check them out. Try to find her.
That first thing she said right there, is there anything the community can do to help you? No. I mean, right off the bat, right? She could have spit that out quicker. No. I mean, besides help look for her, yeah, Casey Anthony was way more slick about this, right? Again, what would I do in this situation? Can the community help you? Yes, please. My mom has her. If you know my mom, you know what she looks like. It's Angela, this, that, and the other. She was the one driving the car. This is what happened. This is where they usually go. This right here, no, I don't need any help. It just doesn't feel real.
Has anyone, like, have you gotten any information from the community that's been helpful, or have you just kind of been listening?
I don't really know. They've all been looking at leads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are working their butts off.
Has the police department and everything, the sheriff's office, been keeping you in the loop for this?
They have been.
How's that been going? Has that been good? Positive?
It is good.
Good. And I know that you said that you're getting a lot of support from your family. Are they like helping you going to courts and meetings and stuff with you? I know you've had a lot of...
Yeah, they didn't know I had court today. Or I'm sure my grandma would have been there.
Did you keep it from them, or...?
I mean, I've just not really talked to them that much today, to be honest.
So this part right here where she's like, well, they didn't know I have court today, and she does clarify, did you keep it from them? Well, I haven't really talked to them. It just feels like she's doing low profile. It's just like, well, what are you doing exactly? Some random person has your child that you know that's not returning your calls. You're not talking to family, but family's helping you with the court stuff. They didn't know you were going to court. It's not for this. Again, you see how with the police, where something like this, where they're trained in talking to people and spotting out this kind of stuff, they would be like, oh, immediately know. Immediately something does not feel right.
And like I said, stuff was going on like while we were sitting in the courtroom, and I couldn't, well, not while, but like, you know, waiting to go to court, and like I just couldn't tell her exactly what was going on.
So you said, like, obviously you can't share anything about the case, so you haven't been sharing with, like, your family or anything either?
No.
How's that, of not being able to confide in anyone?
I mean, the police officers are very nice, especially like Sergeant Matt Price and stuff like that. I can talk to him or like them, and they've been like really helpful this whole time. They really have been.
And anything else that you think that people should know about Evelyn, about like what makes her so special?
She's just a very sweet baby. She's got, you know, the little dimples on her face.
Do you think she looks like you?
No, she definitely looks like her dad, but she does have my eyes.
That's good. You have very pretty eyes.
Thank you. She's the cutest baby ever.
So this part again of talking about the, I can't talk to the family, I can't do this. Now, obviously we've learned at this point there's a lot of stuff going on with the family, right? Whatever, like the different parts of the family. The way also she talks about the baby, and again, I guess I feel like I'm watching a socially awkward person. Separate it out into two categories. A potentially guilty person of taking the life of their child, and a socially awkward person, and then combine those. Because like all this stuff, what makes her special? She's just really special. She has dimples. She's a cute baby. It's almost like somebody who doesn't have kids and quite frankly doesn't like kids is asked to describe a random person's baby across the room, right? We're like, oh yeah, and they would be like, it's really cute. It has dimples. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing where you're just like, it's almost like where they tell on themselves, right? It's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. And again, this is hindsight, right? We know all this, but I'm just like, I'm trying to wear the two hats of in the moment versus now what we know.
So you'll know it's her when you see her. She loves everybody. She tries to kiss everybody on the cheek. She tries to wave to everybody. She's very friendly. She's very friendly and sweet. So.
When hopefully you're reunited with her, what will be the first thing that you do?
Just hug her. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but like I miss how she smells and like her laugh and like everything. I just want to hold her.
I mean, it makes you wonder in these scenarios, is there ever regret? You know, in these moments right here where we see whether they're false tears, they're trying to conjure them up, is there regret? Was Chris regretful on the porch? Was Casey regretful in the thing? You know, all the scenarios like this. Megan here. Is there a thought of like, oh my God, like when they're describing their victims, potential victims, whatever, to, you know, the reporters, whoever, are they listening to what they're saying? Are they having authentic regret? Or is it all just for show?
So I know that this must be, like you're missing your baby. And then there's been trust broken, right, as well? Are you worried about her safety?
I mean, in a way, yes, just because we can't find, you know, the car or nothing like that. But they have exhausted almost every option, you know what I'm saying? They're working around the clock. They have a whole room of people if they're like dedicated just finding her, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they are going to find her?
I do. I have full confidence.
You do?
Now, this part's interesting where she's just like, you know, I have full confidence they're going to find her and this and the other. And again, you have to wonder, what was she thinking was going to happen? What was the plan? Like, I would love to be able to literally just extract that and get the truth of that from their mind, unfiltered, of trying to get out of trouble or trying to cover up or whatever. Like, what legitimately was the plan? Did you think you were just going to be able to hide the baby underneath the house for the rest of eternity? Did you think your mother was going to take the blame? Like, that whole level of things, like, what was the plan originally?
Are you feeling hopeful?
I am.
Can you tell me about that? Like, what keeps you going? What's giving you hope? And
the team up there is just honestly really good. Mm-hmm. They're all really good, and I can like confidently say that, you know, like when I'm not up here, I know that they're doing their best to find her. I'm not worried that when I'm not up here, they're not like, you know, just sitting around and twiddling their thumbs. I know that they are trying genuinely.
Do you have any regrets about not involving police sooner? I know that.
Well, sort of, but also in a way, I knew that as soon as anything went down, you know, the person was going to just disappear, and they have, and they've tried to find them. They are going to find them. Mm-hmm. And I know that they'll bring her back to me.
You feel fully confident then?
No, I was just sitting here watching this part, and it makes me wonder, is she trying to play this off as confident? Like, I know they'll find her. I know they'll find the person. I'll know they'll bring her back. So that it looks like more of a, what? She's they took my baby, like she's dead. I'm so shocked. I was so confident. You see what I'm saying? Like that reverse psychology thing. Because again, everything she's describing here, waited to call the police, did this, did that. That whole dynamic, it's like we've seen it. We've been there. We've done that. No, we ain't buying it.
If you could do this all over again, is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, I probably called the first day. I should have. But I just didn't want them to run with her. Like they have now.
Did you ever expect them to run with her?
I knew that if anything really happened and anybody got involved, they probably would.
Can you tell me why she was with them if you were worried about this?
They were watching her for me while I went to work.
So it was like a babysitting type childcare situation?
Yeah.
But you thought they might run with her?
No, until they took her, no.
Again, this is just where, again, thank God the reporter kept her talking, because this is, to me, what the reporter's doing, and what they do is they keep going over the same thing over and over and over because people eventually tell themselves. So the question of the day, if you were this nervous about them running off with her, why in God's name was she with them? Well, I had to go to work and whatever. Now, this is not to discount, like, at the end of the day, like, when you look at some scenarios and it's like, okay, a person's in a certain situation, they are having to put food on the table, having to do this, having to do that. I don't necessarily like my mom to babysit, but I'm going to go have her do it. Versus, look at the scenario we just did of, the grandmother's killed 2 children or whatever. Or, oh God, I feel like my mom and her boyfriend could technically take my kid and, run off with her and kidnap her, but I really need to go to work. There's a lot going on with that statement, right? Now, granted, she wasn't saying mom in this or whatever, but it's like the story's kind of falling apart because it's like, well, what kind of situation were you in, girl, to where that risk was worth it, right? Because it's not equally out here.
Then after that, I was like, well, if anything happens somewhere, they will run with her. And to be honest with you, I won't lie, I didn't know how good the team was up here. And if I did, I would have called the second that I realized. They are very good, like I said. They are doing everything they can, and I'm very confident in that. And that makes the situation a lot easier.
She's going to blame the team there. I just let him kidnap my kid for a little while because I didn't think that the cops were going to be all that good. Well, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's really heard of it. I haven't really talked to my family. I haven't done this. I mean, again, less is more. Now, I'm not upset when somebody tells themselves and whatnot. I mean, obviously in these scenarios, this is major. But it's just, she's not thinking about what she's saying.
When did you realize that they had completely disappeared?
Like I said, I can't release anything like specific. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but...
So, anything else you'd like to add? Anything that you want to tell me about Evelyn?
Her favorite food is sweet potatoes. She's allergic to carrots.
She's allergic to carrots? What else does she like?
She loves those little applesauce pouches.
Yeah.
She's very smart. Like, even she quit her own sippy cup at 6 months old. Or not a sippy cup, but she quit a bottle, I'm sorry. And went straight to a sippy cup. And, like, I would leave her snacks on the floor, like in the little containers. And she'd open them up herself and, like, get one at a time. Like, she's just a very smart, very good baby. And I just want her back.
You just must be so proud of her.
I am.
Is there anything that you would like to say to her?
That I love her and that I will find her. She'll be back with me as soon as humanly possible.
Anything else you think people should know?
No, not at this moment.
Now, again, I'll circle back around to in some closing thoughts. I wonder if, perpetrators or people who we find out ended up doing this, are they listening to themselves talk about the victim? Do they feel guilty? Do they believe this? She speaks so highly of her baby, how smart she is and getting the treats and doing this, and she's so friendly and this, that, and the other. And of course, you're on the news. This is the public thing. I get that. You're going to want to paint a certain picture, right? Now, the other part to this, again, is the importance of these interviews. I know that, a lot of times people feel like, journalists, reporters, they can, be invasive, and they can, right? Watching this right here is a prime example of getting the person to talk and to continue to talk and talk and talk and talk. Look at how much information came out, right? Look at how much information she gave out that she might not give to the police, that they might have a different energy with her. You already heard her saying the thing right here. Well, I wasn't sure how good of a team there was up here, so it was easier for my child to remain missing while I tried to find her. You know, I just feel like this was just a page torn from Casey Anthony's book. There's really no creativity to the story. It's just another dime store Temu version of Casey Anthony's story. You know, had to drop her off, thought it was going to do this, went to work, you know, was afraid something might happen. Now we're in that. I didn't report her because I didn't think the cops would help. You know, these are completely abnormal things that a parent would typically say about a missing child. I mean, usually in a missing child situation and it's authentic, panic immediately on the phone, 911, what's going on, you know, all these things. And quite frankly, most likely probably even in situations where people aren't doing that. You know, these other scenarios where people get away with this for so long, remember what year it was, there's lockdowns, there's this, there's that, all this craziness is going on. It kind of gave a little bit more of an open door, if you will, for certain scenarios like this to take place. You know, again, time will tell. Depending on when you're watching this, it's either in trial right now or not in trial, and things are going on. So we'll just see. Let me know what you think about the interview down below. I do appreciate it if you're still watching. If you could drop little sofas off for Roscoe and Spirit, myself, Bo and Luke, and the rest of the Sofa Squad, so I'll have a place to hang out and talk about this case, all the other cases we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way down there to do that, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.